Okay, here we go on another Thursday with another episode of Small Talk. Of
Hey,
course, joined by Vintage Rebellion, aka Chris and
happy to be
Badfish.
here.
Guys, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's I got a couple like very eclectic pickups and a fun vintage talk to cover tonight, so excited to be here.
Nice, nice, nice. What about you, Badfish?
I'm doing good. Just keeping busy. You can hear kid's monitor going off right now. He's
Mm-hmm.
just getting to sleep, so he's still moving around. But
Nice.
yeah, and cold January here in Canada. So just trying to keep warm. But yeah, it's been good. It's been a good year so far. Hard to say, hard to believe it say that, but yeah, already
So I,
almost
uh,
done January.
I decided to break out the old Small Talk mug that we got
That's
a few
awesome.
years ago
Yeah,
with the old classic logo. Me and Badfish were talking. Maybe we need to make a new one and see if we could offer it some way. That would be kind of cool. Like do like a giveaway or like the first like 10 of them. Make it like an exclusive number. But
that'd be cool.
anyway,
Yeah.
guys. So for me, it's been a crazy week. So on Sunday night, it got down to about 18 degrees or so, right? It's really cold for Texas people, right? I'm actually pretty good in it. I really liked it, but um, and we landed on MLK Day that Monday, so we all had off, right? So no big deal. Everyone was kind of doomsday prepping again, wiping out the WalMarts and the HEBs, or my HEBs are our main grocery store, and all those kind of places, right? And the next night, it was supposed to be single digits, right? And our school district was saying, we will let you know by 6 o'clock p.m. Monday whether we decide to have school or not. Well, the news came out about 10 o'clock that Monday morning saying it's going to be single digits. It's going to eventually get up to the teens and about to the 20s, and that's it for the day. Our school district still decided to have school, and it wasn't like we were looking to cancel, but they said there was no precipitation, right? And then everyone was like, why are we still having school? These kids are out at the bus stops and stuff. And I was just thinking, man, it might be so much different for y'all. Like this would be a typical thing, right? Like 10 feet of snow, hell yeah, you're going to school.
I
Well,
should have
I
put some pictures in. We had no snow on the ground, and within less than 2.5 hours,
Uh-huh.
we had probably 8 inches.
yeah, it's weird. Like, but even here, like I'm a little closer to Toronto, and like there was a couple days that were like sort of bad, but like I don't know. I have a buddy in Buffalo, New York, and like his house was buried. Like
They got
it,
killed.
We
nothing
got
like here.
we got pelt. You didn't get hit because I know somebody who's in Toronto. We
Right.
got snow for like 6 to 8 hours the one day,
Hmm.
and then the day before it was for only a few hours, but it just came down so heavy. I'm kind of in the snow belt too,
Hmm.
so like we got pounded this week.
Yeah,
So
So
yeah.
my buddy in Buffalo sent me pictures where it's like halfway up his door when he opened it. It's just a wall of snow when he opens his door.
yeah, I remember watching the football game or the news of their field like covered in Buffalo. Before the football
Yeah,
game
I
and they had
saw
to
the pictures.
reschedule.
Yeah.
So is there ever a point where like y'all have to cancel school because is it just the snow
Oh
like just
yeah,
locks
there's
y'all
definitely
in, or
snow
is it?
days. Yeah.
I
So
mean, it
basically,
used
with
to
this,
happen to me,
yeah.
but
Go ahead,
I don't
Chris.
know. I don't know, man. The world's warming up. Maybe it's not as
Yeah.
common, or maybe the schools don't like closing as much anymore. I don't know what it is, but it seems more rare. But then again, I feel like we haven't had a horrible winter this year. A few days here and there.
We were supposed to have a really bad one, and maybe this is the start of it, but really long story short though, one school district here in San Antonio got in so much trouble with the parents because the kids started texting their parents, all the heaters are out. And these schools, they're just like cinder block schools. They'll put some brick on the front, but everything else inside is cinder block, and that's about it. And The very next day, Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, they shut down 30 schools because they could not facilitate with the warmth. And I think that's crazy. But anyway, we're here to talk about figures. We're here to talk about new pickups. We got vintage talk on the way. We got Four Horsemen updates. We got Mondo towards the second half of the show and some hot or not. But first, let's get into what we got new this week. So I don't have it in hand yet, but I got the Venom from that 2-pack, the Target 2-pack. I'm going to go pick it up this weekend, and I'm really excited about it because I've really, really wanted a Space Knight Venom. Back when I was reading comics, and one of the first books I picked up was Space Knight Venom, and I learned how he's traveled with the Guardians, and then he found the Space Knights and started working with the Space Knights. And what were those other guys called? I can't remember. From ROM? They're all connected. I guess they were Space Knights.
Do you know your Space Knight lore? Because I'm lacking, man. I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, so I've always wanted a representation. So he's going to go up real nice right here in my cosmic display with Galactus and Surfer statue and stuff like that. And
he should have some shelf presence. He's a big boy.
Yeah. Oh, I love him.
This is the same body of like the deluxe Venom, I think, that they made way back.
Yeah, I didn't
so
know
they've
that.
gotten used out of this thing, but it's in a good way because they can make all these huge, bulky characters that they've never like done justice. But ever since they made that deluxe Venom, they made like the Toxin.
Yep.
They've made a bunch of stuff. There's a couple more I can't.
It was
There's
a good
Venom,
body.
I think. Or
I mean,
Venom
just the Build-A-Figure.
Yeah.
What they call it, the Matt Gargan one, and then the deluxe one. I mean, it's a really cool body. It holds well, like when you have it in your hand and stuff.
Yeah, as much as I hate them reusing all the time, I understand why, but this is a great like body or like figure that they're using for this one.
And then the girl version of Venom that was also supposed to be in this 2-pack. He was selling it separate, and by the time I got to him, he said it already sold. But I'm happy just to have the Venom. So if I ever try to find it, I'll just find it loose somewhere to complete it. But that is all I got, and I won't have it till Saturday. I'm kind of waiting on Four Horsemen stuff to drop over at Steven's Collectibles. So that is it for me. And Chris, what'd you get?
Yeah, man. All right. So last week we had a Ontario Star Wars Collectors Club meetup, as one does. And we watched 4K 77 in my buddy's luxurious home theater, which, if you don't know, is just a scan of the theatrical print of A New Hope. So no special edition nonsense to be seen in there whatsoever. So that was beautiful, seeing that in its original unadulterated form. And the Death Star battle at the end is very different than you've probably seen it in a long while if you've never checked out that version. But yeah, so there was a few things for sale at the meetup if you want to move it along there. And our buddy brought a bunch of.
Is that a projector?
Yeah, that was a projector, and it looked remarkable. I mean, that's the unofficial version, right? That's just a scan of a print that somebody took care of. It's good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so a few guys brought some vintage loose figures to sell. And here you see Prune Face, which is famous recently because of the bust that they were talking about on the main show. Classic Star Wars character that everybody knows and remembers. Real character, you might say. But yeah, so a Prune Face is $70 because he's got 2 accessories loose. But yeah, you know what? I went and picked up that Sebastian Shaw Ghost Anakin because he's hilarious to me because he's been erased from history.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you move it along, I got a few shots here. So I got this hilarious Ghost Anakin, which look at his blocky feet there. That's it's a sight to behold, where he's got a foot peg like underneath the robe for some reason.
This reminds me of the Rebel Moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Figure that we saw recently.
Yeah, it's like the Palpatine, the Obi-Wan, they all have the same sort of like cloak split in half for the legs on these vintage figures. And the Anakin just has 2 little hands that do nothing because all he did was be a ghost and stare at Luke on Endor at the end of the movie. So why they even made a figure of him, I don't know, but it's glorious. It's one of the few vintage figures that actually kind of looks like the actor. And yeah, and on that subject, so this was one I reluctantly picked up. It was sitting around on clearance for a while, but when they did the photo reel update to the Force Awakens Han, and they gave him actually gray hair. The first time around, it was brown hair, even though it's quite gray in the movie. I don't know. I think the combination of the photo reel, yeah, Badfish has the brown hair version
I
there.
have the brown haired one. This sculpt
Yeah,
is actually still really good in my
that's what
opinion.
I'm saying. This is the same head, right? And it's like
This one's
with
way better, but
yeah, but it's the same head just with the printing instead of
it's
like
yeah,
paint apps. But it's
yeah.
like yeah, the sculpt looks great. And in my opinion, there's one you can still find now that's like the 40th anniversary Endor Han, and like I think this head looks way better. Like he's obviously older, but like it's like it looks a lot more like him,
I think the
which is pretty
40th
cool.
has the old like
Yeah, it's an
another old sculpt they used before, but yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah.
I have to look
Yeah,
at it.
but I mean, this is a like 20 this was probably sculpted in like 2014 or something, this head. But yeah, so I got that, and it's just, look at the C grip on the other hand. That was really a bad period for Black Series, but but it's just like no accessory for that C grip there. He's like a Lego hand on that other hand. They're just sitting out. But yeah, and then I haven't picked up any Halo Mega Bloks stuff in a while, and this set's relatively new, and there's some real cool paint apps on the Ghost there, so I picked that up. But that's all
So
for me.
are you pretty excited about the next season of Halo, or
You know what? That's one of those things where like I couldn't really get into season one. Season two looks a whole lot different, sort of tonally, but it makes me
Mhm.
wonder: do I need to binge season one to appreciate it? I don't know, but
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like checking out season two just based on the trailer. It looks a little more in line with what Halo should probably look like.
So wasn't that kind of the consensus of a lot of people that the first season just wasn't that good? I haven't watched it yet. I'm not planning on watching it. Um, but I heard the consensus was a lot like Mando, or
Yeah,
as Mando went on, it was like it's okay for being Halo and getting to see a real life Master Chief, and then it just kind of falls.
yeah, well, I mean, if it's like do what it says on the tin, like Halo is a action-packed first-person shooter.
Hmm.
I know you can't make a 1-hour drama based on that, but I think they got a little too in the weeds with like drama with the sort of colonists and stuff. So I don't know. The second season looks a little closer to the mark, and I might give it a shot. I'll let you know if it's any good.
All right. All right. So I don't believe Badfish. Oh, there he is. Did you? You said you got something in hand now that you once told us was pre-ordered. You're on mute, bud.
I don't think I mentioned it last show. I'm not sure. Mentioned it on one of the other shows.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But I was waiting for Cad Bane. Uh,
Hmm.
he he was in the post office basically, so I picked him up. I haven't actually opened it to check it out yet, but I'll probably get him up and what's the other one? Geez, there's another 6 scale I just got as well. I'm also prepping for a toy show, so I think I talked about this. I think I'm gonna get rid of all my Black Series boxes finally, at least the ones that I'm
Oh yeah.
opening
Oh,
and
Uh-huh.
boxes.
keeping.
Okay.
Yeah, just the boxes, because I'm never gonna get rid of Darth Vader and Tarkin. Like I want to keep these Black Series, but if I want to sell them, the value I gain from keeping the box is so minimal, and it's just taking up space. And I do have duplicates that I would sell for some of them that are boxed. So
Hmm.
at this point, it's like I
You
want to
know,
just keep them and clear the space. So
I've heard either or on the whole, like I bought it and opened it and I chose to sell it, but I kept the box so it upped the value. And then on the other hand, I've heard like we don't get any value out of keeping the box and trying to sell it. resell it and stuff. So how is that? How is that with you guys up there? So you Badfish, you said in your area that you do get a little bit more out of it. What about you, Chris?
Well, I don't know what show are you gonna do, Badfish? Is that like a Mississauga
Just a
one or
local
something?
one, yeah.
Okay,
There's
okay.
and if there's more, I'm looking at the Mississauga one probably this year as well. But yeah, generally I find even on eBay, like anything loose, even if it's opened,
Mm-hmm.
a box figure goes for a bit more. But at this point, I'm at the point if I do ever sell a lot of these Star Wars ones are again ones I don't really want to get rid of. Like I have Greedo, I
Right.
have
Yeah,
Forlom and stuff like that. I don't want to get rid of these.
but
I
there's
want a
certain
representation in some
yeah,
way, right?
there's certain ones that'll have a bigger premium with the box, like the deluxe stuff, like the Palpatine with the chair, like that sort of stuff. It is a little more of a premium with the box compared to the standard figures. If you have
Yeah,
A
there'll be
Cara
some
Dune
cherry pick. Yeah,
or like
I
one of
have
those,
a few of those. Yeah.
or one of the like the that one time they did like first issue white boxes for for a new wave. There was like a box color variant for the first Mandalorian figure, and
Yeah,
yeah, those will have a big
those
premium. But
do get a premium. Yeah. So, and at this point, if I sell them loose, I won't lose. I won't gain a lot much. And again, I don't see myself selling a Darth Vader six inch anytime soon. I want some
Right.
sort of representation in a 6 inch. So, uh, yeah, that's just like an example. So I'm trying to just continue with the toy shows and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, new stuff coming in is mostly 6 scale. But I want to cherry pick a few Black Series like that kid Anakin, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple more like, and there's some old ones I want to get. Like I have I have the Dengar. I want to make sure I have all the bounty hunters sort of thing. I think
you
I
know
have all of
what?
them at this
On the
point, but
subject of Black Series bounty hunters, I got the IG-88 on the reissue. Like what do you call that
the
series where it's like a
archive.
gray card? Yeah, the archive one.
Yeah, I
And
have
so I
that.
don't
Yeah.
have so I don't even have the first one, right? But his like shoulder joints rubber have completely melted. Like
Really?
yeah, I'm like they're falling apart. I should just pick them off really. Because
I
there's like
think
a
I have the
rubber
original.
there's like a springy cover over the shoulder joints and it is just a disaster. And I had the archive one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the nice thing about the archive and it a lot of them are updated and some of them are hard to find figures. So as much as it's maybe annoying for people who want to keep the resale value of stuff, it's at the same time it's like it gives people an option and Hasbro's they're not exclusive sort of things, right? They're mass production, but yeah, gonna cherry pick a few, but definitely like I said, picking what I'm keeping from it and then trying to just purge the chaff that I have been holding on to for no freaking reason.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, rambling.
let's check in with the chat just really quick before we get into our show topic. We do have Ben Thomas in the house. Thanks, Ben, for being here, and of course that guy Vintage Rebellion checking in
Who
too.
dat?
I have no clue. But we got a good show for you guys. Again, we're gonna talk about some Four Horsemen, some Mondo stuff, and then of course we got Hot or Not. But for our show topic today, so I kind of wanted to. We already started talking about it, but how's the hunt going for you guys? We're kind of early in the I said almost said school year, the early in the new year, and I want to know something this year that you're looking at picking up that you might have been sitting on for a while, like kind of eyeballing. You've seen it here, you've seen it there, but you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm waiting on that price a little bit, and or I'm waiting for a better condition or something like that. So King Dingling just showed up too. Thanks.
Hey man.
Uh, so Badfish, you go first. What's how's hunting going, and what's something you've been kind of looking for?
I would say two particular things that like nag me. Like you. This is where FOMO comes in. I hate it, but basically the Batman 6 scale just went on like waitlist. Both of
Mm-hmm.
them. The deluxe one, I should say, the original non-deluxe was already, but I didn't even see it go low stock. So I was going to grab it when it went low stock. It's one of those sorts of things. I wanted to get it, but I didn't want to put it on payment plan yet, sort of thing. And then the other one, none of these are technically small scale, but we have looked at that Clone Wars helmet, because each time I've pre-ordered this is the Ahsoka one, I should say. I have the shiny, and I pre-ordered it. I canceled the pre-order, and then I got it for like $50 off or something like that, a good chunk off. So I'm kind of waiting on the Ahsoka one to maybe go on sale. As I might just skip the Ahsoka one altogether, though. I'm considering doing that because I really would rather have the Rex one when it comes. When that Rex one comes, I think I might not wait. I don't think it's going to be hard to find. It probably will eventually go on sale, so that might be one of those situations again. But that one I want way more than the Ahsoka one. So those are like the main things that I think about when I'll have a tab. I'll check it every day or something, or like the honey price drops or whatever on those things. So you got to be quick on those because sometimes they disappear fast. So that's my hunt right now.
What about you, Chris?
Well, for anybody who is looking at those Black Series helmets, like Badfish was saying, keep in mind they're reissuing the plain Stormtrooper and the Luke X-wing, which those are
That's another
top
tab, yeah.
top of the line. Those are the ones you actually want. None of this Clone Wars stuff Badfish is talking about. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
but,
see, I'll skip the Ahsoka, get the Stormtrooper. There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. Something I'm looking for is there's a few like vintage figures that are like carded ones that are they're like, they're in the ballpark of attainability. Some really are not. But there's so like they're like we were talking about the bounty hunters. Here I got a Canadian Bosk, which is like a 1980 Bosk there with this washed out car, and he's dopey looking face there. One that you can one that you can get relatively attainably on a Canadian card, which you can still find here and there, is Zuckuss. And as the literate in the audience will know, in the vintage Kenner line, Forlom and Zuckuss were reversed. So the short guy with the trench coat is called Forlom, and the robot C3PO guy is called Zuckuss. But yeah, I think I want a Canadian Zuckuss this year. Probably run you like $500, something like that.
Yeah, I've got they did the 6-inch like homage to that with the 2-pack. It's pretty cool,
Right.
and I've got those are on my. That's what finally filled my shelf because I'm trying to think if they ever released them in 6-inch. If they did, they were hard to find before
Yeah,
that. So
yeah, they actually the 2-pack you're talking about, they actually changed the colors so they look more like the vintage figure too. There was a red box, there was a red box Zuckuss and
that's it. Okay.
Forlom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jacket's just a little bit different color, really. It's pretty much the same. But yeah,
Okay.
I would at this pace with the vintage figures, I have like 65. There's 100-ish. I get like one or two a year.
So is that the goal,
yeah.
to fill the 100 eventually?
Yeah, maybe eventually, but it's real tough when you're sticking to Canadian packaging because there's 10% as many as there are available US versions on the market, something like that.
And do the Canadian ones have a higher value because of that? Or no?
For certain figures they do, like the 12 backs and like the first 12, or like any sort of Canadian exclusive card back type stuff. But your average figure like Bosk I was showing, there's not really much of a markup for the Canadian version.
Yeah, because I know in some cases, like when they multilingual cards, uh, they're preferred to have the just English only generally.
Yeah.
But multilingual sometimes, because they're less made, they're more rare.
Yeah, that's the thing. You do have this phenomenon where like amongst the like sort of hardcore collectors who have put together their US run, they start looking for the more exotic stuff, and that drives up the price a little bit.
So I'll be right back, guys.
Cool. So for me, I have been sleeping on this particular statue for years. It's always a price that's kind of unattainable for me, just kind of the way I collect and the way I like to spend on the small stuff. At one point, I did think I might ditch a lot of the small stuff and go straight up with like hot toys and statues, and realize I didn't have a lot of fun with it. But there's still certain statues that like I really really want, just because it was like the best representation of the character I want. And like the price has always been fairly unattainable. And just a couple of days ago, someone finally had the Sideshow Thanos on Throne on one of the local Facebook pages, and they have it for $700. And I was like, holy crap, that is the best price I've ever heard. So I'm like, I never time this stuff right. You know, I never have the funds ready to go and be like, let's do it. I'll meet you where you're at and let's get it done.
You got to sell something.
Well, and that's like, I brought my wife up here too, because I always tell her, like, you know, I know you don't get into this as much as I do, but it's as much mine as it is yours. You know, this is kind of like our, if shit really went to shit, then we have some money. But I brought her up here and she's like, well, you can sell that Thor statue. I have some of the Avenger Assemble line, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good start. You know, I have a couple other figures, not like big. Maybe I can make $50 off of a few of them, but he has it for $700. Does not have a box. So I'm like, okay, how are we transporting this now? Because I'd have to go up to Pflugerville, which
So is this a statue?
just north of Austin, right?
How far? 2 hours or something?
Nah, less. It's
Not. That's
probably
nothing, man.
30, 40
That-
minutes.
The only reason you're getting that price is because it doesn't have a box,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm just like, what bad decision can I make right now to go get this thing? Because damn, the only other Thanos statue that I really want is the XM Studios one. And I've kind of put that one out of my mind just because it is fairly new. It's what, 3 years old, 4 years old, something like that. But Equan says he's out. He'd be out with no box. I've never bought a statue without a box. But this
How much
is
you
like
want to pay for that box, though?
This is like a
$400?
grail piece for me, though. This is like
Yeah.
a grail piece, and like this is like the version that I want, right? And then when I watch Steve's stuff, Casual Nerd Problems, I always see he has a new switch out for it. So I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to get his contact, get some of these switch outs and stuff. And it's just the standard version. It's not the exclusive one, so it doesn't have the grinning head sculpt. But I don't know, man. It's super tempting. I just checked it a while back, and it doesn't look like it's sold. But I don't know. I want to hear from some of our statue collectors. Equan already kind of gave his opinion. What would
Is this
you
on
do if it's
Thanos
the
on
perfect
Throne?
price? Well, then I need to ask, but I don't want to ask without like, oh, so you're ready to jump, you know? But I want to know from some of you guys, if you're a statue collector, what would be your hesitation on this piece? No box. You know, I'm assuming that everything else is good. I know that statues had a few little mess ups here or there after time goes on, but I'd like to know. And then the other thing is, as far as like hunting goes, like the actual like going out there and looking for stuff, man, I haven't stepped foot in a Target for about 3 weeks. You know, and that's a long time for me because we live right down the street from one. And the last time I was in there, it was completely wiped out. Wasn't really expecting much, you know, just because Christmas and stuff. But I got that itch. I want to go back out. I have some money, but I'm trying to stay focused on some of the Four Horsemen stuff. Steven's Collectibles says his should be coming in towards the end of the month, beginning of February. So I put in an email to him saying which ones I want to pre-order and stuff. So that's about it for me. I'm focused. Like I finally completed the in-game display. There's only a few pieces for Power Rangers that I need. So it's going to be more about going to different places now and trying to find these little odds and ends to kind of complete it and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and for me, j- I used to do like Walmart every other day sort of
Hmm.
thing. Now, Walmart for me, that was in the old town I used to live in. It's just wiped out for Star Wars. They get a run, and also again 6-inch Black Series. I'm trying to be focused on that, and if I cherry pick some of them later now, I'll do that, or I'll buy them loose. I'm gonna do that now or at a toy show. But
Do
the
you guys have like some secret locations that you guys like to frequent that
the
like not many people shop?
well, it's not lots of people shop there, but GameStop now for me, the local one, they've always had like a good rotation, and if there's something like um the retro card
Hmm.
Spider-Mans,
Hmm.
they get a lot of those, and I'll go there randomly, and I found like I think I showed it on stream when I got it. The what's his dang name? The guy Craven the Hunter.
Oh, okay.
That one. I thought I was gonna have to pay uh secondary market prices for it because it was sold out on almost every site. And then I went there one day and they had like two or three of them on the shelf, so I was
Uh-huh.
able to pick the nicest one, and they seem to have a lot of those come in. And then the stores got actually just moved to like a mall just beside where it used to be. It was like an old Tim Hortons that was
Hmm.
converted to a GameStop. That happens a lot here. Just FYI, you'll
Hardcore.
see, you can tell that it's an old Tim Hortons because of the shape of the roof. And basically, my wife used to work at one, and it in our old town it was a Tim Hortons and became a GameStop, and then this one. But eventually they've moved to this new mall, and it's a bit bigger now. And yeah, so they, and I can't believe how many pops are still on the walls, and people were still shopping them. Like I was there Christmas
Yeah.
shopping, and people were still buying them. Like
They almost
everybody
like
was looking at them. I was
they almost
surprised.
kind of just like took a new jump and like people are kind of more into it than even when the craze was going in it. But I feel like they're
I
being
think it's a
very
lot of anime
selective now.
stuff.
Yeah, the anime stuff is hitting real
Think
hard.
that's where a lot of the popularity is right now. Where because everyone I saw picking them up, I'm pretty sure they were picking anime ones, and the Star Wars section is there, but I don't think they move the way they used to.
Well, and it
But
seems like
Yeah,
a lot of like studios, like figures and like statue places are starting to move more towards the anime stuff as well. Like you're seeing a lot more of it out there.
yeah, but I gotta agree with Badfish. Like, GameStop is the spot in Canada for like
Mhm.
TVC, Marvel Legends, like
those
lots of
two.
random stuff. And especially to me, it's the ones that are like aren't in malls that like it's not it's not a pedestrian zone. Like that people just go to them less. The stock seems to be better. I found a bunch of those Chase Galaxy Squadron ships there at GameStops and like all kinds of good stuff. But I don't know. I saw the weirdest thing. I was in there last time I was in there. There was like a father and son looking at pops, and I'm not a kid, like a teenager and his dad looking at pops.
Mhm.
These are they have a mutual pop collection and they're bonding. They're talking about pops, and what the dad picks up Paz Vizsla, which is the John Favreau Mandalorian. He asks his son, "Who's that?" And his son has no clue, but they know they need him. They're like, I don't know. I think he's in the book of Boba Fett or something, and they buy it. I don't understand pop collecting, but anyways,
There's a point where, and I was like that, not with Pops, but with Black Series. I was just ticking the number on the box because I wanted to have like the whole set sort of thing.
yeah.
And then yeah, so I think
But those are
especially with
cool.
Pops, that's a big part of it, right?
I guess so. I
You
guess
know,
so. I don't know.
I had a cool collecting dad moment about 4 weeks ago, right before Christmas, and we were talking to my son like, hey, like, do you want to get rid of any of your toys or do you want to keep them? But if we want to keep them, we need to find a way for you to display them, right? So he was like, yeah, well, we can find something, a shelf or something. We were kind of hyping him up about it, and I go, I have a question for you. Do you want to just have storage to put your toys, or do you want to display them and like kind of pose them like I do? And he thought about it and he thought about it. He goes, I want to display them like you do. I was like, yes. So we switched out one of those cubed storage things and put it in his room, and uh, he had it all standing up all nice and all that kind of stuff. And then his cousins came over for New Year's, and after they all left, he's like, "No, my collection's all fallen down." I go, "Hey man, that's what happens when you let them play with them. That's why I don't let you play with any of my stuff and stuff." But it was kind of cool to have that moment. He's 6, so
That reminds me.
and he gets it.
This shelf here,
Uh-huh.
you can see it. And I moved it, but the Millennium Falcon that was sitting on the back there, I had it sitting on a box back there. I used to display it in this shelf all the time as a kid. Like I would set it because it fits in there, and I would set up like a whole spaceport scene, or like, and then with the I've shown it on the show, the Jango Fett Slave One, like with the seismic charges and stuff that come out of it. I used to set that up as well, set up little scenes, and then I'd
That's
play
cool.
with them, but I'd set it back up almost every time. And I'd do that with like my Jabba the Hutt one. I'd do a little thing. So I've been doing that since I was pretty young. But and then same with Jurassic Park. I had like the command center. So I would
Yeah.
set up all the dinos, and then I'd play with them, but then I'd come back
Pick
and set
them all,
them
put them
back
all
up.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to collect. I still kind of do. I just don't build them anymore. But I collected a lot of Gundams back in the day when I was young, and I had them all standing up on a shelf on the wall, and I'd build them and stuff, and then I'd kind of reenact Gundam Wing and stuff. And I had Wing Zero, and I had Epion, and I had all the bad guys, the Leos, and stuff like that, and then do the same thing. Pick them all back up, put them right where they need to be. Dean, what's going on, man?
Hey.
But my secret location is a Walmart that's about 15 minutes away from where I work. And I work out in the country at the school I work at. And this little town has a Walmart there that just keeps getting stuff. And every now and then I'll go there and there's something I wanted. There's something I could pick up. And it was cool because one of my friends I used to work with at the comic shop, he goes, "Hey, if you see any of the Star Wars Black Series wave, I think it was that first Mando wave or what was the one with the loyalist Mando? I think
Oh,
it was the
jeez.
loyalist, but it was one of those waves, right?"
Yeah.
And my principal had given me some time off in the morning because of a thing I helped out with, and she goes, "Well, come in at 9 o'clock when your classes start." So I go to that Walmart first thing in the morning. There they are, still in the display boxes, still in the boxes. And I asked the guy, "Hey, can I get it? Can I break into these and get a few of these?" He's like, yeah, it depends on how many you're gonna grab." I go, I need one of this one, this one, this one, and this one. Clone Wars Season 8 wave.
Yeah, I was gonna say the that was a popular wave with those loyalists and all that. Like those were hard to find. That was, I think, the Ahsoka ones too,
Yeah,
and
it came with,
and
yes, it was
stuff.
that first Ahsoka wave, that, or not the TV show, but
Is
the
that loyalist is $55 on Amazon right now? Now that's probably not
jeez.
accurate, but still.
But anyway, I found the whole wave from and I just cleaned it up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, too bad he had. I think he had the Django Fett body, which was a little dated, but he had Darth Maul
He
spikes,
did.
therefore value.
He had,
Yeah.
yeah, you're exactly right. But honestly, those honey holes, I would have them, and then everyone, I feel like eventually they would get found. Like there was a Walmart that nobody would go to, and it would get the waves first because it was right by the highway, and I lived pretty close to it at the time, and then eventually I moved a bit further, but I would still go to it. And eventually it just dried up. I don't know if it was because people were found it or because they stopped getting orders, but yeah, and then it would kind of rotate. I would find one store and then it would kind of dry up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But there's kind of those random Walmarts that nobody goes to, or they're more in like an old part of town. Like I would go to a part where there's like probably more retirees live there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So less collectors probably hit it. So I would go there and it would generally have some stuff you hadn't seen in other stores for months, and it was just there either on discount or they had like a bunch of them. So it's weird. Sometimes you'll that's another if you're ever like hunting and you if you know the area, if it's an area where a bunch of old people live, it's like a retirement area because we have areas where it's more established, either retirement communities are there or there's just older residents live in like a certain area of town because it's just more established housing or it's more expensive and you know that there's just less collectors there probably. So I would suggest that as if you're on the hunt as well. That's another like kind of thing to think about.
Right.
All right, Chris, we're about 40 minutes in. What do you got for us for vintage talk?
All right. Well, I wanted to cover a specific licensee of the vintage figures back in the day, because I forget why, but on a previous show, 1 or 2 episodes ago, this company Glasslight came up, and I was showing one of the Tie Fighters they released. But so the interesting thing here is like, so the vintage Star Wars line first comes out in 1978, and that's what you see with this TVC looking Luke on the left here. And it got released just because of the way like trade laws worked, more so back in the day than now. Like a lot of countries had to have it released by like a local company that would make a licensing deal with Fox and Kenner so they could release it there. Like here it was Irwin Toy / Kenner Canada. In the UK, it was Palatoy and so on, right? So in Brazil, they had this company called Glasslight, which I'm sure I'm saying horribly wrong, but I'm not going to try and pronounce it authentically. You're gonna have to deal with it. But the interesting thing with this company is that they didn't release the stuff until 1988, which is like 10 years after it came out originally. So that's where you get a lot of weird stuff going on, basically, that is not very congruent with the other licensees. So you can see on this Luke, the card back's just crazy. It's actually a generic card back for all their figures they released, and where it says Luke Skywalker is just a sticker they slapped on. So every figure would have the same card back and just a sticker for the character's name. And then basically they released a few vehicles too, and here you can see the TIE Fighter drastically, yeah, exactly, drastically different box. The 1978 Kenner one, pretty the packaging style we've come to know with that's continuing to this day with TVC. And then on the right, and 10 years later, it's sort of like a painting, and they have this weird picture of Darth Vader and a Star Destroyer sort of edited over top of it. It's a very different look, but in a lot of cases with these other national licensees, you are getting pretty much the same product inside the box, even if they used a different photo or the box looked a little different. That was not exactly the case here. So when you see what's inside of these, on the next slide here, they went a little crazy with the TIE Fighter. And instead of the sort of basic white plastic of the original, they went with a sort of metallic swirl plastic, and they added a bunch of vibrantly colored stickers that have no place on a TIE Fighter. So, like, even if you're a loose collector who does variants, this is a wildly different looking piece than the original TIE Fighter. Yeah, and that sort of brings me to the last most notable, probably the most infamous thing about Glasslight, which is they 10 years later, for whatever reason, and they're dealing with Kenner, they released one figure that US Kenner did not have. And how weird is that to imagine, guys who were collecting in the US 10 years down the road, Brazil gets one figure that US Kenner was working on but decided to cut. And that's the Flix there. And he's just a fat criminal goon, but and he looks ridiculous, but he has an extremely high secondary market value, of course, because he was never released in the US. So so an example like that graded might run you 10,000, I don't know, something like that. Insanity.
Good.
Yeah.
That
I
is
I had to
crazy.
I say sorry, I had to step away there. This is
Yeah.
awesome though.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know if you like I don't know if you want to just roll back to the loose TIE fighters for a second, Sean,
Yeah, I
but
was watching on my phone while I had so yeah, I kind of almost like I don't like obviously the the red part on the outside, but the metallic is cool.
yeah.
Is
Well,
really
it's
cool.
just I mean, but a lot of guys if they have this, they have every version that ever came out, so it's just awesome to have something that's strikingly different, right? It's just like I don't know what those guys were smoking, but it looks real fun in comparison to the other one because there is a US version that's like sort of blue as well. They made one that where it has like battle damage on it and it's more of a blue color rather than white. So if you had all three, it would look pretty cool, even if they
Jump
were all loose.
jump back to the first slide again, sorry. The yeah,
Yeah, there's two
this one.
Lukes.
I
Yeah.
love the TV toys thing. And
Yeah,
I
it's like
actually really like this Star Wars logo. This is an official logo, right?
yeah, that the logo with the red bars there and the lightsaber is the lightsabers from the teaser poster of Return of the Jedi, where the first Jedi poster was just two hands holding a saber up, which were the source photo was actually George Lucas's hands, if I'm not mistaken. It's a real deep cut there, but the logo you're seeing is actually was used in the U.S. as the Power of the Force logo in '85. So you'd have like your last 17 figures on there. So basically, the last two waves of vintage Star Wars figures had that logo. And if you were lucky enough to buy a HasLab sail barge, the yak face that came with it had that card back, where it had the sort of red bar.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it had a coin, and it would have that logo on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the card back though is a mess otherwise, man. Just the
Yeah.
basically
Well, even
clip
this.
art cut. This isn't as bad, but I do, yeah, the Vader is like, why
Well,
is he there?
yeah, just get that picture off there and it would be an awesome box. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? The picture's just jetting into the racetrack and everything. It's yeah, it's very odd, but it's cool to see the painting look there. But yeah, it's just an interesting line and the Vlix keeps it relevant. Once in a while, you'll see a few years ago somebody bought a lot of garbagey looking loose toys from Brazil for $5 and there was one of them in there, just a loose one. But I mean, just a pile of loose toys from Brazil for $5 and I mean loose he's got to be 2 or 3 grand like in bad shape.
I
Like
love
that's
that.
yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's insanity. Like he's a non-character, you know? He's like literally even if you watched the Droids cartoon, I think he's in like 2 episodes out of 13. And it's just like he's a goon, you know. It's
That's classic Star Wars though. Some
yeah,
nobody. I love how
exactly.
the accessories just sitting at his feet too.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not even taped in there. They're slapping a bubble on. And like I said, just like the Luke, this is a generic card back for the whole Droids wave. And where it says Flix is just a sticker on there. We're like, oh, that's
yeah,
kind
I
of
see
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So they didn't even make unique card backs for the figures.
That's why it's kind of clip arty looking. Okay. So this is actually part of the reason I used to not part. This would be part of the reason I kept some boxes would be a way to store all the accessories because they have a place, you know what it came with.
Mhm.
But at this point, I'll just look at a picture on the internet and guess. I'm pretty sure this is the one that came with that. So, and put it in like a fishing tackle box or whatever, right?
Yeah. And on that subject, the Canadian Droids cards are very similar to this, where it's almost the same picture they used. I could grab one here. But, yeah, give me a sec to open it up. But it's almost the same picture they used, but in Canada
Yeah.
they also thought it wasn't worth their time to make a unique card back for each of the Droids figures. So you get, if it will focus, you get a. Oh no, it's not going to. Here you
Oh,
go.
there you go. Just
But
pull it back a bit.
yeah, but it's almost the same picture, but they went a little differently. But there's no sticker with the name here. You just get to read the name on the coin.
It's so weird. Like as much as I don't really care for that series, and I've seen it I think once. I really like the way it looks. I don't know the logo and the way they do R2 and C3PO. I don't know.
Yeah, and you
There's
had it for
something about it that I really like.
yeah, and I mean, the gateway drug would be like the 3 figures that Hasbro put out in TVC. The Fett's pretty cool. Yeah, with that have that sort of branding.
Oh,
Uh,
there, Dean. It has the looks like a as seen on TV icon. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I guess in
Yeah.
Brazil, 10 years later, the only way people were watching was on TV. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think it could be that. From this company, you do see that logo on basically anything that was like a movie or TV license.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I was thinking as seen on TV. You still see that as well at the at the store. They'll have like, oh, this product that you used to see. They'll
Yeah.
have it on the box.
Well, but the funny thing is, so like that with that Vlix especially, there is like a US Kenner Vlix, a few of them, but they're technically prototypes. So like right up in '85, they were working on this figure. They had internal like prototype versions of it in the US, but those will run you 30,
I was
40 grand.
gonna say those must
Loose,
be
no
really
card back.
pricey.
Yeah, yeah. I saw one for sale at Celebration. The guy was sitting on an offer of 40 grand, not deciding if he was going to sell or not.
So
But
here's a question: what was that 10 years ago?
not it's weird for certain stuff like this figure, not shockingly less. Like this guy got high quickly because just there for the Kenner prototype, you're probably talking like I don't know, I'm just ballparking, but like 10 to 20 examples maybe, like period. And then for the carded Brazilian one here, you just don't see them come up very often, especially not in good shape. So this shot up high really quick just because there's just nowhere near the numbers there are of every other vintage figure.
Because I'm wondering if you buy it, what you spend 30 grand in 10 years, maybe it's 60 grand.
I
don't know.
doubt it because let's face
Yeah.
it, who even remembers this cartoon? It's on Disney Plus and still no one knows it.
And you need someone to want it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's that there's a R2 and 3PO from that line and the Boba Fett. I bet you they'll be worth more in 10 years. But I think this guy's going to be stable and it will grow until no one alive remembers the cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah. The six.
Yeah.
They did what, the 6-inch Boba Fett from this, I think.
Yeah,
Black
exactly. Yeah.
Series.
But
It's
it was
pretty
just
cool.
your 2013 Boba Fett
With the pin.
new colors, yeah. But yeah, it's a fun line if you get into this sort of stuff. But the TIE fighters are actually sort of affordable comparatively, but the figures they're all way up there carded.
Vehicles seem to be a bit more reasonable. I'm sure there are the outliers, but it seems like the figures just seem to be more, if you want, like if you want a Power of the Force, even old X-Wing, you can find them kind of cheap compared to some of the figures. Though some of the bigger vehicles like the AT-AT and stuff, they're still like $300-400.
Yeah. Like I mean, I saw one of those TIE fighters with the box, the glasslight ones for sale with the box locally not too long ago. I think it was 1,200.
Okay, so never mind.
Which
So there's still price for
well,
those.
yeah, but like
For
any of the
vintage.
figures any of the figures will be twice that for a carded figure. It's just crazy. But yeah, it's but fun to look at, fun to know about, so that if you ever see it and somebody doesn't know what they have, you can get a good deal.
Buy it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right,
That's cool.
Chris, thank you for that vintage talk. Always full of information. Moving on, we have some Four Horsemen news. The Poxus Wave has arrived at Four Horsemen Studios and has begun shipping. So if you pre-ordered any of these, they said to start expecting the shipping notices pretty soon, probably by next week, and that because of how much everyone loved this wave, it could take up to 4 weeks for the entire shipment to get out. But they said they are gonna go ahead and go for it. Normally, they said they would do the all-in people first just to get them out the door, but because of the high pre-order numbers, they're just trying to get as much out a day as they possibly can. This is part of what I'm waiting for myself. I want to get Poxus here. That's one of the Four Horsemen, and get his horse along with this big blue dragon. These are the kind of the three guys I'm waiting for that I have. I'm going.
Which one
to,
is Poxus? The top left or the far
Poxus
right?
is the big right.
The far right. Okay.
the
And
big picture.
did you have to pre-order, or you just get priority?
I wanna just make sure I have it in hand because Stevens is so far for me. It's like a 40-minute drive or so. Uh, I just want to make sure I have it paid for and ready to go because I'll let it go for a couple of weeks and then I'll miss out. So I'm really afraid
Can,
of missing out on this.
can you or you can't order them on the site anymore, right? You had to
No,
pre-order
so
them.
that's the
Yeah,
big
that's
thing
what I
with
thought.
Four Horsemen is that they all kind of do the pre-order stuff windows,
That's what I
and
thought.
when the windows are done, then it's done. You have to go BBTS. You got to go to one of the on-site retailers like Stevens to pre-order, and a lot of times you'll get it at a little bit of a increased price. Not too bad,
Yeah.
but um, I know when I've bought Four Horsemen from Stevens before, it's been right about the same. Nothing super crazy. But you let it go any longer than that, some of the bigger figures, I think even Stephen Percha could tell you, is they get up pretty high. But it's
I thought
important.
even the standard figures go like double for what they.
Yeah.
Now
And
they
this is
do
another
reissues sort of sometimes, I think, right?
they do
They
those
change them.
they do the All-Star waves, right? Those are kind of like the reissues.
That's it,
Okay.
yeah. Which
But
is
Man, look.
which is great because it is, some of these are really cool, and if you just don't have the chance or you didn't know about it,
Right.
to be able to get another shot at them is cool because some of these are so awesome. And I mean, right away, just looking at the top, that wizard looking kind of
These
obviously,
guys,
or the
this one.
top right mage, yeah, the dude with more square beard. Either
Hmm.
one of those two, I think. I don't know, anything like kind of D&D looking, or like the elf chick in the bottom left.
Yep, she was
I
really
don't
cool
know.
too.
These are all really cool, and
Yeah, but
oh
look
man,
at the wings, man. Those look like real like insect
bug,
like
yeah,
locust
Yep.
insect
wings,
wings.
man. That looks crazy. Maybe it's the lighting, but it look like they got little sparkles in there and it gets thicker on like the veins and stuff. Like that looks awesome. And you imagine you putting I'm sure you can put them like way up while he's on the horse. Like that probably looks
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
So
want like to build these as like a kind of how Eddie's doing it, just a
yep.
fantasy. He wants to do like a Viking kind of wave thing. He was saying I would do like a D&D thing, like get kind of just the wizard, maybe an orc, maybe that chick. But yeah, if
And
they're
that's a
all
really
pre-order is done,
it's a
it's
really
kind of
cool thing
yeah.
because like they're all interchangeable, and one of the things they like to highlight on their Facebook pages, like the customs, switching out parts and stuff, like with the Jacob Marley figure, the figure obscura. One thing they were talking about is that the surprise was the metal mask, and they said a lot of people were using their Valiant Knight and putting the metal mask on him to make a man in the iron mask figure or as
Yeah.
close to having one as possible. And I was like, hey, that's a really good idea. But the important part about Poxus right now, the bigger picture, he's part of the Four Horsemen, and this year they're gonna finish the Four Horsemen like team. So last year we got Alithia. This year we're gonna get Poxus and Necronomus, I think his name is something like that. Those are the last two Four Horsemen, and you're gonna, from what I was told by a Four Horsemen fan, aka Dylan, is you're gonna want to get the Horsemen as fast as you can because once they finish the team, that first one that they threw out, I think it's Aerith there or something like that. They're just gonna blow up. They're gonna be harder to find. You're not gonna be able to find them.
Yeah, I
So
can imagine that. Yeah.
so I'm looking for him too. We were talking about hunting, right? So I'm kind of waiting to stumble upon that guy or wait for a good deal. But if you have pre-ordered this Poxus wave, it will be shipping out here shortly. And then Badfish, you wanted to cover this Mondo Juggernaut. What's going on?
Yeah, I thought this was just kind of a cool thing. Like now that we're just we're not covering absolutely everything, so this kind of stood out to me. This is just a cool thing from Mondo. I'm used to seeing from them like lately their 6 scale plat like the McCready and stuff like that, and then they've teased like the Spider-Mans and stuff like that. But this
Yeah.
is a 12-inch. I think, yeah, in that first picture it showed it. But it's
Mhm.
12 inches tall only, 15 inches wide. So you could like put this in with your, if you wanted it to, with like a Marvel Legend or something. I feel like he's very comic-y looking to me. And it's not crazy articulation. And you, if you want to order it pre-order is ending tomorrow at like 12 Central. So
Yeah.
it's a timed edition. It's sculpted by Tommy Hodges, paint by Hector Arce, and basically it's limit 3 per household. It's $200. The articulation, sorry, I thought I had listed here. It's like arms. Let me see if I can find
Fist and
it.
arm are probably separate, but it says soft vinyl, so I guess it's like closer to that line of like Godzilla stuff that they do rather than like a more articulated figure line. It's more of a mildly articulated statue-ish display type piece.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I thought just the fact he's able to do that punching fist. I don't know how it's not the best picture here they're achieving,
Yeah, it
but
looks like the
yeah.
fist can turn independently of the top of the arm. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's swivel arms, fists, and boots. So there's shoulder, arm, wrist, and boot articulation, it looks like.
I mean, this guy's huge. It's like
Yeah.
it's the size of this guy's torso.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is just
Crazy.
it's just a like if you just wanted a beastly juggernaut and you had a bunch of Marvel Legends like fighting him or crawling over him sort of thing. I like that's what I like to do with
That'd be cool. Like a
those
Spider-Man
deluxe.
jumping over him or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little pricey at $200, I feel like, for vinyl. It's probably, but I still think it's pretty cool. But yeah, I, as far as I'm understanding with this timed edition, if you want to get it, only have till tomorrow. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. Really, just kind of unique looking thing. Kid Robot vibes, yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know, but I can't wait for my McCready. I did order that, and I'm excited to see what else they turn out in that more realistic film license 1/6 line. But this is fun, man. They've been doing vinyl stuff for a long time, like even before. Uh,
Funko.
well, who purchased them? Funko? I can't even remember. It was Funko or Super 7 bought them like a year or two ago. But they were doing like vinyl Godzilla stuff for years. But yes, it feels like right in line with that. I don't know if it's referencing a specific comic or something, but like the proportions are just insane. Like his fist's way bigger than his head.
It reminds me of like the 90s cartoons or something.
Yeah.
Like maybe from like X-Men or whatever. I didn't watch X-Men as much as I did like Spider-Man and Batman, but I want to say this is kind of reminds me of like the X-Men Juggernaut from the TV show. Yeah, it's just big and bulky. Like I didn't even realize the dude behind it, to be honest, at first. But
I
yeah,
think his
it's like
fist is
mass.
actually 1-to-1 for a human fist.
It's got to be damn close. Look at the size of that thumb. It's
Yeah, look at the
crazy.
guy's hand underneath. Like that's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really
interesting.
cool stylized version too, you know. I really like all like the bumps on the chest and stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, the
Um,
texture.
Yeah, the
Good
texture.
texture.
The feet are huge too. That's kind of cool. So you said it was the fists, the arms, and the feet?
Yeah,
It looks like the elbows do as well, but yeah, it says here swivel on. Let me reopen that.
yeah, I think it's the
Swivel,
elbows.
arms,
The end of the
fists, and boots.
Yeah, so the boots probably just stay flat, but you can angle them, which he'll probably
Yeah.
fall over. Yeah.
It'd be cool to see him like in a punching
Yeah.
pose.
Yeah, when it
Yes.
says arms, I think it's the shoulder because it looks like there's a joint, and there's definitely one
Yeah.
at the. It looks to me like there's one at the elbow.
Yeah, at the
but
where the gauntlet stops there. Yeah.
to do the punching pose, that it has to be at the shoulders to do that
Yeah.
punching.
Yeah, there's 2 on the arm. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
There's
cool.
one right there.
yeah, cool. Yeah, it's neat little not little neat thing that I don't really see too much for like that stylized version.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys, let's jump into Hot or Not. First thing we have is Tamashii Nation's Godzilla times Kong, the new Empire for 8,250 yen, or about $57 USD each. So that's for both the Godzilla and Kong. They are separate. We'll see the King Kong here in a second. Due out in April of this year. Godzilla's going to come with interchangeable hands and the heat ray blast effect. He's going to be 6.3 inches tall. I just think this guy looks amazing. Like, I am slowly getting sucked into wanting to get a Godzilla figure. I've heard some people really like Monster Arts. I heard some people don't really like it, and they like the other company. I don't remember what it's called. I just saw him the other day too at one of my local shops. But I'm going hot on this guy, not just because of the beam. I think this guy looks really good. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is if they come out with another version of him after the movie, right? Because this is for the new movie, the new Empire, right? That's the new movie that's coming out. I'm a little concerned if they'll come out with another one where he's all like his whole body's heated up, kind of like they did in the last movie. Because I'd rather have a final version, but this looks great. I'm going hot.
All right, Badfish, what do you think?
I would say honestly, for me, I think the like heated up ones kind of are almost too much, I guess. I think this is like just the right amount of like blue on the spikes and stuff. I don't know. This was really cool, and I can't believe that it's getting this pose that I'm seeing right now, and even just the neck, it's got like one, two, three, four articulate just going down to the shoulder, just to do that. Like, I don't know, it's cool, and as much as you see the joints, they're still hidden really well, and the texture of the skin and whatnot and all that stuff is really cool. I don't know. I really like the vibrant blue, but yeah, I would say hot for this one.
Equan said, "Wasn't it pink? The hot parts were pink in the new one. I wonder if that's like a leveled up version. Maybe he tries to do this early on and then he levels up or something."
Or he's
Go
or he's
blue
talking
over
about
pink, yeah.
or he's talking about -1. I can't remember if they're pink in that, but I could see people being confused in the marketplace as there is both a Japanese and an American Godzilla currently being marketed. But yeah, I mean, I I'm gonna go hot just because this picture is amazing. I don't know if I necessarily believe that neck is holding up that beam like that. I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if they erased like they put a little stick there for the picture and then photoshopped it out. I don't know. But it's a little, that looks a little sus to me because it's like almost too awesome to be true.
That
But
left leg is really reaching out there too, and it almost looks like it's a little bit back. So maybe
It's definitely a good point. Yeah, when you look at it, you thinking it's probably something holding that up.
yeah. And I mean, maybe the piece isn't as big as it looks because of the perspective of the camera. I don't know. Because like that end piece is a lot closer to the lens, and maybe the scale isn't, it's not as crazy as it looks because his head's real tiny. But I don't know, man. This is, I mean, I like the sort of clear plastic on the spines and everything. It sort of reminds me of like the 90s toys and stuff. But
I agree
okay,
with you though, Equan. I think it
yeah,
is
he
pink.
says, yeah. Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, I'm gonna go hot just because this picture is amazing, but this picture is a promise that you can do this pose, and I don't know if I believe that. You know what I mean?
Actual product may differ slightly.
I'll retract. I would retract the hot if this is not possible. But
This is definitely an MO, I think, for SH Figure Arts, right? Because they had that Blue Eyes White Dragon figure for Monster Arts, kind of all pinned up on stilts, or not stilts, but
Yeah.
stands. So I'm wondering if they just photoshopped it out.
I'd say the price on this too, if it's around 57, I'm used to hearing Godzillas for like close to $100 or plus,
I
like
wonder
close
if
to
that's what it's
150.
going to be for us.
But I mean, if it's $60 US or close to that, it's about a 6-inch. But I think that's pretty cool for a pretty good price considering what I normally hear, I think, for Godzilla. So I could be wrong, but
The next one is the King Kong. Again, it's the same stats, about $57, and due out in April of this year. This one's going to be 5.7 inches tall. It includes interchangeable portrait, interchangeable hands, and an axe. I think this looks really great too. I feel like I'm more drawn to the Kong than I am the Godzilla, as much as I really do like that Godzilla. I just feel like Kong has such a presence, just the way they have him posed here, kind of how he's bent over, ready to strike, and then just kind of like the stature that he has holding the axe like in triumph and stuff. So I really like this too. I'm going hot.
Yeah, I just think Kong's cool. I like the growling face to the
Mhm.
alternate head. I just think Kong's cool, so I'm gotta go hot with this too. The articulation and the way you could pose him, I think you could do some really fun stuff with this one. Um, the yeah, the pose on the right is really cool, and you get the like
The knuckle
the
hands.
knuckle hand, so you can do
Yeah.
like that pose if wants him down, if you want him down, like not linebacker, but you know what I mean, on all fours. I don't know. This is cool. I'm gonna go hot, and I don't know. I like the way this new Godzilla, like the way they sculpted his face. I think they did like the movie design. I think it's a cool. Uh, I don't know, something I like about it. Yeah, so I'm going hot with this one too.
All right, I guess I'm the contrarian. I'm definitely going not, and I think that Kong is one of those characters that's really weird in figure form because unlike Godzilla, he's like sort of based on a real animal. So like the sense of scale is sort of lost to me. Like I don't know, I still to this day I see the NECA like old timey King Kong like loitering in every Toys R Us around here, and it's like yeah, because it just looks like a badly just like sculpted gorilla because they sort of based him on the 30s one, and he had a separate head that was more like the 70s one, but they didn't have the license to the 70s movie, but they're like here's a slightly more realistic version. And I don't know, it's I feel like something the idea of King Kong in figure form, unless it's like a toy that's like 18 inches tall, it sort of misses the point for me. And I they did a good job of making him look a little more like a distinct character this time around. Like, there's there's design details here that are not just a
He's
straight
got
up
like a beard. Yeah,
yeah, like there's like this is a character, but like, oh man, did I think that Godzilla versus Kong movie was stupid as hell? And why has he got an axe? And like, are we supposed to imagine his great granddad Kong like built an axe and left it in Valhalla or wherever it was for him? Like, I don't even know what's going on in those
isn't this
movies.
Godzilla's Spike, the axe?
Sure, but he's not supposed to know how to wrap twine around a giant bone or anything like that. He's a monkey.
Hey,
Anyways,
he's entered the Stone Age just like all the other monkeys in that
yeah,
they
but he
believe in.
but he didn't even have any other ones to like bounce ideas off or like make a culture. Like he's just he should have known it from the beginning. He didn't even make it anyways. He found it. But
Was this
s-
Jack Black? Did he meet Jack Black? I forget. Was this the one?
no, that's a different Kong. This
See, I
is
forget.
the one that met Brie Larson and
Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson, I think, if I remember correctly. But I fell asleep during that movie, which is the last movie I fell asleep in the theaters, and for the first in years, where it was
This,
like the 70s and it was just King Kong. I forgot what it was called, Skull Island maybe. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm going not on this one. It did not meet Jack Black. That's a better movie. Uh King Kong versus Godzilla is nonsense. You should support Japanese -1 Godzilla. And yeah, not hot for me.
I will say these movies are kind of like the Transformers movies. I couldn't tell you which one I've seen. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you what happened in any of them. But I had fun watching them because a lot of stuff got smashed. So I don't know.
My thing
There's
is like
like,
there's so many of them that I just can't keep track of like the continuity of it, like the
yeah.
storytelling of it. It's like Kong, Skull Island, and then you have Kong and Godzilla, and then Kong times Godzilla.
Yeah, but like
We'll like watch them. We'll wait till all of them come out, and then we'll watch them all kind of like, oh yeah, this is the ones that went together.
yeah, but like Godzilla -1 is like I don't think it's as good as most people do, but like it's actually a movie. King Kong versus Godzilla is just like is Transformers 17. It
Yeah,
doesn't even make it's just
I want to see
nonsense.
both, but yeah, I want to
Yeah.
see -1 probably more, but I just finding the time. So yeah, I like these monster movies just because they're. I love popcorn movies where you can just kind of turn your brain off and just enjoy the stuff get exploding. But yeah, I like them better than Transformers movies. I think so far too.
Maybe.
So the next thing we have is some Mezco stuff. They had their 1/12th day event just the other day. We're getting Void Cadet Gomez Red Eye Night Edition. Um, It's going to be $100, and it's currently waitlisted. It's also shipping now. Um, I know Gomez is like their own IP, but I just feel like there's so many of them, and I know this is kind of like a new space line that they're kind of working on, which is cool. But some of the pictures just kind of spoke too much of like, okay, let's take some Darth Vader, let's take some Jedi Knight, let's take some of these other things and throw them in together and make him a good guy. When I first saw this, I thought, okay, maybe this is like a villain version of Gomez that the cadet is actually going to fight. No, like this is the guy. But he does come with 2 head sculpts, or really total 3, but tons of hands like always. He also comes with his cape, the little Gomez, and then the stand. And I don't know what the little piece is right there. I can't read the small wording on it. I'm going not even. I'm in the middle. I'm like lukewarm right on this right now. But for $100, it seems like it's a cool figure.
I think that's a fly swatter. I don't know what that is. Something like that. But
It
yeah,
says adjustable posing post, but that's the clear part, right?
I'm talking about the orange thing. I thought
Yeah, I
it was
don't
fly
know.
swatter.
I don't know what the orange.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to adjust something on the figure. Like it reminds
Yeah.
you of like the one they give you for the eyes on Hot Toys.
I love money more too, Quan.
Void
I would
Gomez.
agree.
You feeling this bad fish or not really?
Sorry, I was reading Equan there. I just got my Void Gomez. I love it, but it's selling for 500 plus. I love money more. Is
And I
that
think you're
Void
referring-
Gomez the one
I
with
think
the
he's referring to the
vortex
first
suit?
one from with the mech suit, right?
Yeah, Void Cadet Gomez. In the red suit. Yeah, honestly, this I don't know. 18 hands, that's crazy. That's for just 18 interchangeable hands is crazy. And it comes with
I mean,
some
you
cool
buy it
accessories.
for the middle finger right there.
I didn't even notice that. But it comes with like a blaster and some like blast effects and a sword that's like connected to a power pack. Like
Source, yeah.
so it is really cool, but I don't know. Maybe something with the bug head. Something to me is just saying not for this. I love
Oh,
the
he did this
stand
one.
too.
Wow.
Oh, this is the one selling 500 plus. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Strange.
I don't know,
Maybe
man.
I joined the wait list then, just to resell it.
I guess I gotta go not. There's just something about this that I just don't like. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it looks like Star Wars and it's not. I don't.
Well, that's the whole point, right?
I know it's Void. The Void Wars thing is very clearly, but yeah, I don't know. There's something putting me off for it for some reason, but I'm
As
on the
of right
cusp.
now- As of right
making
now,
it, yeah.
as space things go that are not Star Wars, I feel like Mythic Legions in the Cosmic Legions realm is doing it better, because a lot of those guys have real original ideas. You can maybe nitpick, oh, maybe they were inspired by this person in Star Wars or whatever, or this alien creature from Star Wars, but a lot of it seems like it comes from a lot of sci-fi
Yeah.
space movies, not just
It-
pulled straight
yeah.
from Star Wars.
Well, okay, there's a couple. I'm also gonna say not, but there's a couple things I want to highlight here and appreciate, because so like Badfish was pointing out, where it says Void Wars on the stand, that is actually the original Star Wars font that was on a handful of things, like in '76, basically, like before they came up with the Star Wars logo. So like that's a deep cut. Interesting. They felt that by attaching a cable to a lightsaber, it was making it distinct enough that they might not get in trouble. But for the fans of the old expanded universe, the earliest lightsabers in Star Wars canon had to have a wire on them that went to a backpack to power them. So like that is a Star Wars
That's
thing
what I
as
was
well.
gonna say. It is another. And this
Yeah.
apparently lights up too. I didn't know the saber
That's cool.
has a light up function.
Maybe that's why it has a wire for a practical reason.
That's
as
what I was
well.
thinking. That's
Yeah.
also the battery pack for it.
Yeah. But I see the appeal of this for a person like maybe if you're like Zach and you're good at 3D printing, this is how you make your custom version of yourself as a Sith Lord who's giving the middle finger to everyone who walks by when they look at your collection. Like, that makes sense to me. You know, a lot of people buy this and take the goofy head off and make their custom Sith Lord or whatever. That makes sense to me. But, you know, some of the other Gomez figures are like really decked out costume wise with like tactical gear and SWAT stuff, and this guy's just not bringing the A game in that same level to me. Like, he's got some normal pin looking pants, and the cloak is like, yeah, I guess you could do something with that cloak, but you're really just covering up a figure with that cloak. So yeah, I'm gonna say not for this one, just because the chest has some interesting details. The red V is a little bit garish to me, considering how plain everything else is. So I'm gonna go not.
Let me share this really quick. Give me 1 second. I'm messing it up. Give me 1 second.
Got a jetpack.
So this is the one I should have put on there. It's got a jetpack. It's got blasters. So it's still loaded. You know, I think the accessories and that jetpack are kind of where it's at. I actually really do like the little mask too. I think that's a cool touch. But it's almost the same MO from the rest of the Gomez stuff. You know, there's a blaster, you know, there's a gun, you know, maybe there's a like a bullet effect piece or something like that. So I mean, I see the appeal, and I like how they're kind of spacing out, you know, on their stuff, but I don't know. Still not enough. I do feel like our next one, let me see if I did this right. I do feel like our next one is significantly cooler than this one. This is, oh, look, there it is. My bad. Didn't remember I put that on there. But this is the Rumble Society Illuminu Rook. It's 112, and this comes out June 2024. This, I think, looks so much cooler. I really like this helmet that they put on him, and even like the cyborg style head. And then he's gonna come with a whole bunch of stuff too. So it's like a, I don't know, like a magical tentacle and some blast features. I guess this is more like his lightsaber kind of thing that he generates and stuff. Several hands, the 2 extra head sculpts, the stand. I'm going hot on this one. I think this looks a lot better.
This is pretty unique. I like the green clear hands. It's kind of cool. And definitely remind me of like playing Baldur's Gate right now, reminding me of the Mind Flayer with the tentacle arm and everything. I would definitely go with the head on the left, like the Terminator style looking cyborg. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go hot too. It just has there's something about this style I like more than the last one we just saw. That armor kind of reminds me of like a heavy battle droid or like assassin droid or something like that.
He's got an arc reactor. There's the nod.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. But yeah, especially, I don't know, something about those green hands are really cool. The way they're like big and chunky looking too. I don't know. I'm gonna go hot for this one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep being a hater and say not, because all I'm seeing when I look at this guy, I see cyborg and I see an arc reactor, and then I think about the Gomez we just looked at, and then I think about how much more cool I think all the like Cosmic Legion stuff is than this, and I'm just like, yeah, you guys are just, you're making references here, and I don't know if I'm feeling it, but maybe, just having a glowing window on a chest it's not that unique of an idea that I should always think Iron Man, but that's where I'm at culturally, and I don't even like Iron Man or the MCU. I see a Mark 1 like chest piece or something there, and it's just, to me, it's like, is this like a bootleg or something? Like, what am I looking at? The spider eyes helmet thing looks a little bit disproportionate. It's cool design, but it just looks kind of massive when he has it on there. So I don't know. You guys are right that the clear fist is kind of cool, but it's never gonna, unless it's got an LED in there, which I don't know if it does. Yeah, it says light up eye eye and chest features, so the arm doesn't light up, so it's
Yeah,
never
it
going to look.
doesn't look. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to look how it does in that picture. It's
true.
going to be
True.
fading into black under that cloak. But yeah, not for me.
All right. And then our last one that we got is the Wolverine 50th Anniversary Marvel Legends Wolverine and Psylocke 2-pack. This is going to be $50, due out in April 2024. Um, I've said it before. I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I'm not a huge Wolverine fan. I really don't know much about this version of Psylocke. I do like her sinister looking face that she has. Uh, I think the effect pieces are pretty generic as Marvel Legends go. Whereas even if we went back to some of these, you're paying a whole lot more, but there's some creativeness in like the tentacle and the little like saber blast piece and stuff. But for $50 ish, $20, $25 a figure, I guess that's not bad. But also it's just not a lot coming with it. I think that extra head sculpt is like the best part of it. And then I guess you're kind of paying for the box art. One thing that I think Marvel Legends have done really good on some of their deluxe boxes, if you will, or their newer 2-packs, is they've really gone decently all out on the packaging. I don't know if that's just something that they've done since uh, HasLabs, where they put a lot of work into those kind of box arts, but you've definitely started seeing more uh, comic-y effect box arts from Marvel Legends. Um, but I'm definitely going not. I don't think there's enough for the Wolverine. I don't know what else you would put with this Wolverine in this version, but just two closed hand fists. I know that's kind of his MO. You punch him or slice him, right? Um, it's just not enough for me, so I'm going not.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. The only thing not the only thing. A couple of things I do like about it is the price is good, as you said, considering the way things are trending with any Hasbro stuff. Um, I like her armor, like on her arms and the like thighs, the way it's kind of very defined and like layered with the black inlays, or like it looks like it's sculpted, and they did a good job painting it. Those are the positives. I hate the head. At least from this angle, it looks ridiculously stupid on her. Again, it's probably comic accurate, but I just think it looks stupid. And the hair on Logan's arms, it it doesn't look good. It looks like they like used a sponge to like pat it on or something, when like you're making clouds with a sponge. And his suit is just boring. Again, if it's comic accurate, sure. I don't know. It's just boring though. 50th anniversary apparently. So I don't know. I gotta go not being a hater on this one too. So
Yeah. Yeah, same with me. The box looks beautiful, but like look at the silhouette of Logan there. He looks like a vintage He-Man. Like look at that big round arm joint like on top of like where it comes into the torso. Like this
jeez,
looks
yeah,
like a
that's a good
Toy
point.
Biz Marvel Legends to me if you just at a glance
Toy
like just
Biz.
it
When
looks
you were
crazy.
explaining it, that's what I thought was Toy Biz.
Yeah, it's those arms are
Yeah.
wow, they're really bad.
It's just weird looking, right? Like, and Psylocke's armor is cool. It looks a little underpainted on that front piece. Like, I won't believe in the comics that from her chest down to the top of that like pointy centerpiece is all one like matte blue color in the comics. Like, there's got to be some sort of detail on the front of that somewhere. It just looks sort of bland. The leg armor is nice, like you were saying, but it looks like it's missing something there. But yeah, not for me. But I'm sure I'm shocking everyone with that. Yeah.
Um, we opted to not include this, but I think just yesterday or today, I can't remember which one, but they did come out with the 2-pack of Joe Fixit, and I think it was another Wolverine with him, the one with the suit. While I appreciate the comic nod because that was a really cool comic cover, I just don't think we need another one of each of those. You know, uh, it's getting to be a bad habit where Marvel, or I should say Hasbro, with Marvel Legends, are putting out build-a-figures of certain figures, and then several months later coming out with the deluxe version of it. I feel like if you're going to do both, then just go with the deluxe version. Give us something better on our build a figure pieces. If I had to give it a hot or not, I'd say not. I mean, if I were to pick it up, I'd only be going into it for the Gray Hulk, just because I like Gray Hulk a little bit more than the Green Hulk for early comic accuracy. But we decided to opt out of that one. But that is.
I'll just say I thought
Go
build a
ahead.
figures were kind of almost done at this point with all the deluxes, but they must make them a decent amount of money that because people are buying more of the wave than they would.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
got yeah.
um,
I hate build a figures because of that.
but speaking of Hasbro, there just before we get near the end here, I was gonna mention there was a kind of interesting piece of Hasbro Star Wars news this week that I just remembered, which was that Steve Evans, the former design director for Black Series and TVC, is now back on Star Wars after a few years away, and he was sort of behind the HasLab barge and the relaunch of TVC in like 2016 or 17, I think it was. So he's a real collector. He's got vintage Star Wars, and it's even in the few days since he's been back, he did a couple cool things where he on his social media, which on Instagram I think he's called Mr. Stevie, but he released like a graphical poster checklist for the retro collection, and he showed that he's working on one for TVC. So like it's just cool to see somebody who actually is interested in the content working on it from a design perspective. So he seems like a good dude, and he was behind some of the best stuff that Hasbro's put out lately. So it's cool that he's back on that project.
Do you know if it was like just a hiatus from that line, or he took a
Yeah, he was.
hiatus in general, or
No, he
he
was he was
left?
still at Hasbro. I forget if he was on Marvel or GI Joe or something, but
Okay.
he got shifted off Star Wars for like 5 years, and now he's back on it.
I feel like
Okay.
they've really maybe it's just me. I just don't track it as much. I feel like they haven't been releasing as many vintage collection vehicles every year now. Like I feel like we saw the N1 and then
Hmm.
obviously the HasLabs, but
And
I
there's
feel
a
like
reissue of the Slave One and
yeah,
ATST, but that's about it.
the
Yeah,
ATST. Okay,
there was a 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi ATST
I
with
think I
Chewie.
vaguely remember seeing that somewhere, but
Yeah, maybe at
yeah.
GameStop. Not much though.
So that's three for the whole year.
Yeah,
So
maybe
it seems
two
like
and
low.
two versions of the speeder bike, but that's on the smaller side. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Maybe you'll have to send me those because I don't. I'd have to look at.
it's
Oh,
just
I know which ones you're talking about.
the
It's
Endor
like a
speeder bike. Yeah,
deluxe pack thing, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
not
Um,
much.
a while back, you guys would be the one to answer this, I think. But a while back, we had talked about how the Black Series team had mentioned they were going to stop doing like the whole pre-order thing, like and just kind of release to the stores. And then several months later, here they are, pre-order. We're at this con now. Pre-order this, and this. What do y'all think about that? Like, did they realize like that was a dumb idea, or like what do y'all think?
I feel like Hasbro changes with the wind with audience reaction, and on some level they kind of should. That's why you had your grand pronouncement of plastic free, and now it's back. It- yeah. There you go. So he's doing Marvel and Star Wars now. It's a tall order, but if you followed him on social media while he was off of Star Wars, all he was posting about was Star Wars. So the guy loves that stuff. So I'm not mad that he's back. That's good stuff. But yeah, I don't know. They respond to fan criticism, and they respond to sales numbers. So maybe it's something to do with we sold a lot less of these when we didn't offer it for pre-order, and it could be as simple as that.
No.
I think you've got to sell more with the pre-order because people are gonna be more inclined to like pre-order. At least when I was collecting just Black Series, I would pre-order a whole wave ahead of time, and then if I'm cherry picking or seeing them in the store or whatever, then I wouldn't get them all if I didn't come across them all, or whatever it may be. But I don't know. I do think they went back on that pretty quickly because
Yeah, it was
my
only a couple
understanding
months,
is
3 months.
all the waves if you want to pre-order them now it's sort of you can, but I
I
look on
wonder if
Amazon every
that's
once in a while because you can
I
pre-order. Yeah, you can pre-order the tiny Anakin right now.
I
So
wonder if that's what hurt him too, because you know they'll put these pre-orders out obviously several months in advance, sometimes maybe as early as 3 months. Um, but I feel like because they don't have like an NRD or anything like that, that people would pre-order and then like, oh shoot, it's already in the store. Let me pick that up. Cancel, no repercussions.
Yeah, I
You
hear about
know.
that a lot. I've just never I've been somebody who pre-orders like Black Series type stuff, so I just find what I find usually, unless it's something real important. But I do hear guys like on some other podcasts, I hear people all the time talking about I found it in store, so I canceled my pre-order, which really must mess with them from a like sales data perspective, because like some of those pre-orders were probably in place for like months or a year, and then they're canceling them last minute.
yeah, it's. I will say sites that I used to buy Black Series on, other than like some of the shelf warmers, generally they wouldn't sit there. The stock would sell off. They might have to do a sale on some of it, but I do think that there was a high enough demand, at least during the pandemic. It might be slowing down now because of that, but um, there was. I feel like they would maybe get those pre-orders, but they wouldn't have problems selling them because people still want them. Once they arrive, people are like, oh, these are cooler than I thought, and then they go on the sites that have those pre-orders that got canceled, and people buy them. But yeah, other than the shelf warmers, I feel like a lot of sites, it's hard to find stock. Sometimes the only thing they have in stock is the most recent wave and then the pre-order that's coming.
Right.
It's at least like mom and pop style online stores.
And I guess we're kind of also nitpicking a smaller group of people, like assuming that you live in a big city or something like that. Sometimes on Hasbro Pulse, that's your only option. I
Yeah,
don't get this kind of stuff here, so I have to do the pre-order.
that's why I was pre-ordering because it was no guarantee what you'd find in Walmart or whatever. Even though it was better, kind of back then. I feel like with distribution,
Yeah, and it just
but
gives
yeah,
you a chance to know and like peace of mind. Hey, I got this locked in.
yeah. And
You know.
there was definitely I feel like the um the waves that were pre-ordering, they were coming a lot more often too, and they were
Mhm.
bigger. I feel like the waves have gotten less often and fewer figures in each wave, which if it's me, because of my wallet, I would be happy with that. But I do think pre-ordering should definitely still be a thing because it's just so hard to find some of these things sometimes. So I'm glad they've kind of seemed to have rolled back on that.
All right, guys. That is our show for this week. Um, just given a little, hopefully a little hint, Chris. We've kind of talked about maybe doing that photography episode, so hopefully we can get that
Yeah.
in the next show or two. I'd really like to hear what you have to say on that. I think that's like the next big jump for me would be like let's get into some better posing. Let's get into some cool photography. I'd love to take them outside and get these kind of action shots that you see from some of these professionals, or at least attempt to get it. Just the creativity that they use behind it uh, to make those
Yeah.
shots is awesome.
Yeah, man, there's a lot you can do with just a phone and a few pointers. So we'll try and make some tutorial type stuff for that.
All right, guys, we want to thank our three pillars, starting with Ian Seeby, Renee Mendez, Eric Mariscal, Quinn Aguirre, King Louie, Mark Pearson, Paul Schreiber, Equan, Chris Valencerina, Ben Thomas, Chris Letty, David Jones, Sam Gist, Daminator, Joao Bretta, Thomas Clark, Eric Switzer, Six Gun Figs, Bad Fish, Toy Cartel, Dan Lee, Deanie Martin, Stephen Krent, Big Fern, Cesar Marroquin, Mark Phillips, Lisa Martin Babonsky, Rick DiGregorio, Ricardo Valdez, Jose CZ, Erwin Azucena, Illustrious Rayner, Alan Morgan, Takathri, Wah, Derek B, Aries Portillo, Alvin, Arlies Delgado, Jazz Carroll, Joe Ridley, Pablo Meza, D Rock, Matt Clavenger, Seth Tucker, CC3PO, Scott Smith, Dalmaton, Stephen Percha, Sean Usby, Scott Bradley, Steve and Maria Stanley, Eddie Manzanares, Luis Bennett, Chip Perrin, Jimmy Hernandez, Gigi the Judgmental, and Brenton Palmer. Thank you guys all so much.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
And if you want to become part of the Empire, you can start with the hot seat at $5, where you will get Ox After Dark and the Patreon chat and weekly shoutouts. Or you could upgrade to $7.50, where you will get stickers sent straight to your door, and then all of the previous tier with Ox After Dark and the shoutouts. At $15, you get a certified crispy certificate on first pledge, assistance with figure fixes. We need to still clarify if that is something he's currently doing. I heard he was kind of backed up a few months ago. And then all the previous benefits and international postage will be charged at cost for the certificates. And then our best tier, the What a Guy tier, you'll get the Pog exclusive Pog Deluxe set on first pledge, doubles of all the stickers, and then all the previous benefits. International postage above $5 will be charged at cost for the Pogs, and then stickers every other month. And we have our YouTube members, Absolute Irwin, Alvin J, Andrew Gibo, Benjamin Henson, Big Ol' Fern, Bob Dylan, CC3PO, Chris V, CT603, DJ, Daminator, Doc Smizzle, Equan, Fat Batman, Garbear, Good Ol' Spotchika, Gotham Cinnabites, Justin Sports Cards, LV Avenger 702, Mark Pearson, Mike Litteris, Money Mendez, OG Fan, OMFG Rick, 1/6 Figure Focus, Paul Schreiber, Philip the Fool, S Beam, Sam Giss, Scarnlord, SpongeBob SquareBalls, Sunnyvale Russ, Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming on early, Ben, and Toy Mafia. And if you want to be a YouTube member, you can do so with the Peanut Gallery at $2.99, and then the Patreon only tier at 99 cents, and you'll get the loyalty badges and emojis. And then here's all of our shows that we have: Collecting Weekly on Tuesdays, After Dark on Wednesdays, Small Talk and OFAC on Thursdays. You'll get OFAC next week. And then Question of the Week on Sundays, Bricks and Brews, Ox Plays, and then the new Mind Flare Web. Badfish, can you talk to this a little bit? Your all's first show was last week, right?
Yeah, so we've actually got 2 episodes in. We've done two
Okay.
kind of marathon ones, so you might want to take them in chips, in chunks. But this is kind of the new direction right now for D&D. So we're playing Baldur's Gate 3, so it's a bit easier to follow the story compared to if you're. It's kind of a fresh start if you want to watch what we're doing in D&D right now. It's visually obviously a bit more easy to follow as well. It's not like a top-down map or anything. It's you're actually watching gameplay of us. But if it's very much D&D, you're rolling to get things and to make passes and whatnot. And there's a lot of really cool storylines to follow and options. So we've done a 4-hour and a 5-hour episode because we're having so much fun. So you'll probably want to watch them in like half of them at a time or something. But
4 hours? Y'all want 4 hours? That's crazy.
yeah,
And
we were up
5.
till 5 a.m. the second game, at least Eastern
Jeez.
time. It was 5 a.m. by the time we finished
Did you have
'cause we
any
started late.
dedicated watchers, or was that a pre-record?
Well, it was live, and people were probably
was.
maybe one or two, but I would definitely say yeah, most people are watching on the replay. But even so, on the replay, there's a lot of fun stuff happening. There's some really good moments with rolls that we weren't sure we were gonna get, whether it was gonna be a good or bad roll, and some critical hits and critical misses. So definitely fun to check out. So it's a new direction, and I think more consumable if you've never really watched D&D before. So.
Chris, Badfish, any shout outs before we sign off here?
Yeah, I don't know. I did post a panel from a convention I was working on over here in Toronto, which is if you look up the May the North Be With You on YouTube or the Nelvana Connection, you can see a panel I shot and edited with a bunch of dudes who worked on the Star Wars Holiday Special and the Droids cartoon that we were talking about earlier. And a lot of those guys live in the Toronto area because that's where the show was produced. So, we filmed a cool discussion with some animation geezers, and you can check that out. I just posted that a few days ago.
Badfish.
Just shout out to everyone watching, and shout out to Steve, Casual Nerd Problems. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Steve.
Yeah.
And yeah, geez, hard to believe again. January in 2024 is coming to a close almost already. So, but yeah, looking forward to the next show, and yeah, thanks for watching, tuning in. Love talking the small scale stuff.
Yeah, thanks to all the chat. Equan, thanks for all the good conversation on the Godzilla stuff. Dean coming in here, hanging out for a bit. Mark P. We got the Everyday Collector who popped in. And then right there at the end, 1-6 Shooter. Thank you guys for being here for us. We are so glad that you made us part of your evening. And if you're catching us on the replay or on Spotify or wherever else we stream, thank you for making us part of your day. Please go check out our Instagram. We are trying to figure out how best to jumpstart that. It's Small Talk CW, right, Chris?
That's right. And we're making stories linking back to the episode replays and posted our new pickups on there, so check it out.
Oh, and as Dean said there, Baldur's Gate is Saturday, so check it out.
All right. Well, guys, Chris, Badfish, appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate the chat. We'll see you guys next time.